Yeah, I'm really trying to frame this better and get all of the Illuminati here in there. But it's not really working out so well. Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about something kind of unscripted. So the last two videos I've done have been pretty scripted in a sense, where I've gone on Google Docs and I've wrote out every point I was going to go over. So today it's going to be kind of unstructured and more like a rant. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while, and that is Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey, he's a really great YouTuber. So he has a talk show where he talks to different individuals about their finances, like people who take out 50K car loans when they make 30K a year. He talks about people who pull out a 100K student loan to get a liberal arts degree. And the one that he talks about people the most is probably credit card debt. The United States is in $1 trillion of consumer debt. A lot of people have different credit cards where they run up things, buying everyday items, to using as an emergency fund, or just buying things that they really just don't need. So Dave Ramsey's number one tip for everybody when they start doing his baby step program to get out of debt is to sell their credit cards. Well, if only you could sell your credit cards. He talks about cutting up your credit cards because he thinks credit cards are dumb. There is statistics out there that people tend to spend more money with credit cards. It's important to note that Dave Ramsey's demographic of people who he attracts to his YouTube channel, all of his people are very undisciplined. They see a 50K limit on their credit card and that they think, wow, that means I can spend 50K on whatever I want. And they don't really think about the interest rate. They don't think about how they're going to pay it back. And overall, this repayment is not something that's on their mind. So when Dave Ramsey says that everyone should cut up their credit cards no matter what, he says there's never any reason to use a credit card, that you should pay cash for everything. I just can't get behind that at all. And there's a few reasons why. So first off is automatic trackers. So to track my finances, I use mint.com. It's a great platform to track every credit card purchase that you have. I have 3 credit cards through Chase. I got a new one through Wells Fargo, and I also have one through Barclay, the Uber credit card, which I'm no longer using anymore. I'll probably make a video about that another time. So these credit cards and all the purchases I make on them, I can easily track on mint.com. I can categorize them, I can see my trend, and overall I see what I'm spending in which categories. And to me, that's something that's very valuable. And if I had to pay with cash, like he proposes, then I would have to add every single transaction individually. And at the end of the day, it just causes more work, which I don't want to do. The second reason why I can't get behind cutting up their credit cards and going cash, like he suggests people to do, is because the daily rewards for buying purchases. I have the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which gives you 1.5% back on everyday purchase, every single purchase you can think of. I have the Chase Freedom, which has a 5% rotation category, which I mostly use for gas when it is those months. I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred? Yes, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which is good for eating out, and it's also really good for travel. And all these cards give me great kickbacks or really good cash back for the purchases I'm going to make anyways. And that's the number one thing I think people mess up, is that they think since they get a percent back, they should buy everything on there, even if they can't afford it. You should not buy something you cannot afford in cash. I think Jay-Z has some, I'm pretty sure Jay-Z has something about buying 2 things. Jay-Z buy 2? Okay, so I just spent like 5 minutes trying to find the song, but it ends up it's actually just a quote that he says, I think. Or I just can't find the song because I'm kind of dumb with using Google. So the quote is, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it, which I think is very, very true. If you're just scraping by to buy a new phone that's $800, $1,000, and you have nothing left over, you can't afford it. If you are buying something and you're not going to be able to pay your bills afterwards, you're not going to be able to afford it. You should not be going to credit cards to be able to afford something. And I used to do this where I would say, well, I have my paycheck coming in a week. I'll put it on my credit card now. So then when I get my check, I'll just pay off the credit card. I just fell into this habit of always spending my next paycheck before I even got it, which is pretty much living paycheck to paycheck. So I really don't recommend that. The points are not worth it. You should be taking advantage of credit cards for their points on purchases you were already going to do. And last but not least, the reason why I don't agree with Dave Ramsey, I guess I'm going for a pair of three, is mostly because it's based on his demographic, so I understand, but he's under the assumption that everyone is going to be undisciplined, they're going to be running up debt, which is the case for a lot of Americans, but there's a huge majority of people who have never been late, who don't pay the minimum, but actually pay the entire debt that they owe on their credit card. And these people are just reaping the benefits. There's a subreddit called r/churning where they talk about this, where they're getting free miles. They're able to fly from X to Y to Z for free, just based off spending minimums on there. So the Wells Fargo Propel card that I just got, I get 3% back on gas, travel, hotels, taxis, Uber, Lyfts, almost everything. There's only 2 categories where you're not getting it. And if I spend $1,000 in the first 3 months, which I'm going to be able to do because I'm going to Japan and I can pay for the hotels on it, I get $200 back for spending $1,000. So I'm essentially getting 20% back on the first $1,000 I spend. And Dave Ramsey says, well, no millionaire has ever gotten rich from using credit card points, from getting a kickback, which is true, but a vast majority of Americans aren't millionaires. No millionaire, even Graham Stephan or any other YouTuber, they're not going to say, I got rich using credit card points. Credit card points are something that is a small reward for you for making purchases you are already going to do. So last year when I went to Japan, it was right after I got my Chase Sapphire Preferred. This is one of those two. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, and I got $650 worth in points for travel, or to use whatever I wanted to use it for. So I used it on a trip to Japan, which was 100% worth it, and all the credit cards I brought to Japan had a 0% transaction rate, which you're not going to get with cash. You could take money out, but sometimes the transaction rate out of ATMs is more expensive, so you might as well use a credit card. So future Andrew here, or past Andrew, depending on when you're seeing this. I also forgot to mention that with credit cards, it's a lot of people's only way to improve their credit. So if you don't pull out student loans, if you don't take on your personal loans, or other ways to build your credit, there's really no way for you to build credit. I was talking to my coworker today who went to college but was fortunate enough not to have to pull out any student loans. So the only way for him to build credit was actually through credit cards. And if you have a low credit score, it's going to make it harder for you to get pre-approved for a mortgage. It'll make your APR on future car loans, if you don't pay in cash, really high. It'll make it even harder for you to get financing on a mattress if you go to like a brick and mortar store. So it's really important to be able to build credit. And I think that's something that Dave Ramsey really misses out on. I think he pushes for people to do things without credit. Like Dave Ramsey tells people to buy everything in cash. He thinks that no debt is good debt. I do believe that there is some good debt out there, but that's for also a future video. Okay, future Andrew is done now, and he's gonna go back to editing the video. But overall, I really respect Dave Ramsey. I respect like what he's trying to say, and he's trying to watch out for his demographic. His demographic are people who are very new with finances, who are already in the hole, and they need a way out. So to tell them to cut up their credit cards is perfectly fine. But anyways, that's my thought on credit cards. I'm personally a huge fan. I do not think they're evil. I do believe they're predatory. There's an APR, which can be like 22% or even more depending on the credit card you get. But yeah, I've ranted and digressed way too much. And I probably moved my hands a little too much. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave a comment to tell me what you're looking forward to hearing in the future. Subscribe and tell a friend. The only way people can learn about finances is if they're being educated And we already know schools aren't educating anybody on this stuff right now. But yeah, thanks again, everybody. I still know to end these videos, so I'm just gonna go up slowly and move off screen, and goodbye.